Howdy pards, Mr. Holster here. On February 11th, 1936, Burt Reynolds was born. And of course, he made a lot of movies. But it's kind of interesting when I started looking at him. Very seldom was he using a gun in the movies. More often not. And I've got a couple honorable mentions here on this one. But I'm going to try to present what I think are the top 5 firearms he used in his movies. And I'm going to start with number 5. The first, number 5, Stick, 1985 movie where he plays a released convict that runs into a little trouble with a drug cartel. And he solves all the problems at the end of the movie and gets his daughter back by the use of an H&K 94, which has been cut, chopped, and converted to full auto. Actually, it's pretty much at this point an MP5. My number 4 pick, City Heat, 1984. An underwhelming film starring Burt Reynolds and Clint Eastwood. And I think this film actually could be would have been a very good film if they would have put a more serious tone to it and not made it so silly. And the silliest in the end of this movie, where they have a shootout and they're pulling out different guns from underneath their coat with longer barrels each time. Him and Clint Eastwood. At one point, Burt pulls out this gun, a Luger P08 artillery. Yeah, and I picked that just because you're not going to see that in very many movies. Now we move on to number 3. And of course, number 3 is Sharky's Machine, 1981 film where he plays a police sergeant trying to bust a narcotics ring out of Atlanta, Georgia. And here in this movie, he carries a Colt Python with a 6-inch barrel. Yeah, any movie that's got a Colt Python with a 6-inch barrel, you pretty much have to feature that gun, I think. Number 2, the number 2 pick is Malone. It did not do too well at the box office, I think. A 1987 film. Any rate, he carries with him, when he hits this small town, in a nice presentation case, an AMC 44 Automag. Yeah, the 44 Automag pistol. Number 1 is the last movie he made. I haven't even seen this movie. It's called Without a Paddle, and from reading the outline of it, it sounds to me like 3 20-somethings go on a canoe trip and stumble across somebody's growing field, a marijuana growing field, and they end up getting chased by these guys, and it sounded to me like, in the end, Burt Reynolds steps in and helps them get away or stops whatever's going on by the use of his 2 Colt single-action armies that he carries, 7.5-inch barrels. Well, there you go. They're the top 5 firearms in Burt Reynolds movies, and there were a lot of ones that I didn't choose. I'm going to give him 2 honorable mentions here. One's not a firearm, but of course Deliverance. You have to remember Deliverance, where he used a bow and arrow. Yeah. And my other pick would be The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas from 1982, and I picked this for 2 reasons. Number 1, and I'm not even sure about the gun he's firing when he's in the middle of the town in the courtyard, and he's shooting the gun in the air, yelling at Dom DeLuise. And I'm guessing that was a Model 19 with a 6-inch barrel. You can chime in below if you can figure out what that gun was. I really only mentioned it because I wanted to put this picture up. There you go, guys. There's the top 5 firearms that I picked from Burt Reynolds movies. I'm sure I missed a lot in this case. You can think of any, put them in the comment section down below. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time, for Mr. Holster and Jack, go out and stay safe. Ah, there. That's only 5 minutes of your life you'll never, ever, ever get back again. Burt.